Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm today's special guest on Blest Boyz Podcast. Today's episode comes from a place a little bit different.
Welcome to the Blest Boyz Podcast. My name's Crowder.
I'm Andrew.
Trevor.
And we're here to give you your daily or bi-weekly, we've decided bi-weekly, never mind, dose of horse shit. We have an extra special episode today. We're here with our very good friend, Mr. Jeff Petty. He drives buses professionally for entertainment, the entertainment industry. That goes, all the way from movie stars to bands to Steve Irwin's family reunion. God bless you, Steve.
And God bless you, Jeff. Thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody.
I will input a massive crowd applause.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
He deserves it.
it.
Jeff deserves it.
Yeah.
The one-of-a-kind guy.
Thank you for having us on the 2020 today, Jeff. We sure appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's sweet. I got to be honest with you. You got this whole side of town in an uproar over there at the gas station.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, they're losing their shit.
Was
It's,
people talking?
Yeah, and what's funny is, outside the gas station, people always stand there and ask for money. I'm surprised they're not lined outside the door here asking for money and shit.
Thinking
Just
they're going
waiting
to
for
get
someone.
money.
Yeah, waiting for somebody to come off. Yeah.
Right. Well, what say you, Jeff? What are you up to? Can you say?
I can, actually. Right now, I'm driving this bus between Wichita and Nashville. It'll go out on tour starting on Tuesday, but I have to get it to Nashville tomorrow so the front end can get an alignment. And then the driver will pick it up Tuesday morning and take off out on tour with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you live on these things, don't you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. In the year 2019, I spent 10 days at home.
Damn.
Yeah, a lot of road time.
A lot of road time.
I mean, as far as like dream jobs and shit go, because we all do shit that we don't want to do, but we're driving for the entertainment industry. Where does this rank up as far as dream jobs?
This is absolutely my dream job.
Yeah.
I was retired for 6 years, and I told myself that when I went back to work, I would do only what I wanted to do as a dream job, and I sought this out and made it happen for me. And
It's awesome.
this is exactly what I wanted to do, and I achieved it. So it was.
And you were military before.
I
that,
was 22 years in the Air Force,
Nice.
What did you do
Thank
in the
you.
Air Force?
military police, security forces.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the service.
For
Thank you.
real.
Thank you.
And what led you into this profession? Was it something you thought about? Was it something that caught your eye one day, or what made you do it?
Well, I all the way back to my teenage years, I have had a very huge love for music, and I really wanted to get into the music industry. It goes all the way back to the 70s. Jackson Browne wrote a song it called Stay and Loadout. I actually said that backwards, but it talks about being on the road. He wrote the entire album on the road. The album was called Running on Empty, and it just told about the road life and what happens. And I was just a teenage boy at the time. I think it was 1977 when he wrote that, and I was 13, and I would listen to that, and I just dreamed about it, and I always wanted to peek behind the curtain and see what happened out on the road with the road crews. And in my entire life, I'd been fascinated by that. So when I retired, I decided I wanted to go out and find out what that was all about. And in the military, I drove buses the whole time, and
Oh, okay.
so I knew that I could do this, and so I got my CDL, and this is as close to the music industry as I possibly could get. And I live in these buses with the artists, and it's
And you rub elbows with some
Oh,
extremely
absolutely.
talented, musicians and famous musicians.
Absolutely.
And
Which leads me to a point that I want to bring up is that as we do the conversations today, I can't name drop.
Right.
I have to sign a lot of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, that keeps me from discussing who I work with and
personals.
yeah. I'm not their public relations representative. I could be sued for name dropping.
Yeah, sure.
So I can't go into too many details, but
That's when you know he's the real deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's when you know some nasty shit happens on this bus.
yeah,
But they don't want to get out.
Right.
Exactly. This is their private space, and what happens in here, I have to keep that private for them.
Which,
Right.
in my opinion, like I don't know, I appreciate and respect that so much more because it is a little confidential. It's like a little bond that you and the artist and the crew, whoever else has, and I like being protective of my things
That's exactly
and my
right.
bonds anyway.
Same.
So
And it's also a bit of comfort. So your life on the road like that is full of discomforts and being uncomfortable and being exposed to the public constantly. So to have that little spot, that little place to go
of security,
to
right?
know that nothing's gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly
Go down.
right.
Yeah.
And my last tour, one of the band members, he loved being in the bus. He would prefer to be in the bus, traveling 8 hours on the bus as opposed to flying between cities. Whereas the other band members, they would fly. He would ride on the bus with me. He would come to the bus and spend the night as opposed to being in a 5-star hotel. And he and I had a long conversation about it. And I told him, I can't drop his name, but I said, Johnny Cash called his bus his cocoon because he liked being inside of his bus because it's his private little solitude, his space where he could get away from the entire world. It's the one part of an entire tour that never changes. He could go in there and your hotel constantly changes, the venue constantly changes, people are always coming at you, but inside the bus it's his solitude, his safe place. Nothing can bother him in here,
Right.
yet I'm allowed to be in here with him, so I have to protect his world when I'm in here.
Right.
And
I
that's why
totally can see that with musicians and artists alike. Most of them have their weird quirks, and I think all of our minds kind of probably have a similarity and I totally get that with the bus. Like, to me, there's just something about being in it. You feel safe.
yeah,
It's nice. I don't like being out traveling, especially planes, but
yeah,
it's awesome, man. And I must say, like, anytime we've been with you, total professional above
Yeah.
anything else with all of that we just talked about. So
yeah.
I can totally see
everything.
why they'd want to be with you.
And yeah, I mean, you can, right off the rip, you took us on a run, right?
Right.
We can
We should talk
we can
about that.
confidential the whatever that,
We-
we can say that.
We didn't sign anything.
We give.
we didn't sign anything,
consent.
right?
We give consent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we should start by saying that yes, we did do two runs with
runs,
you
right.
guys.
Mhm.
We took you to Grand Rapids and to
And
Chicago on one weekend trip, and then the next one was to Ward Trace,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those,
Yeah.
and that was 2 different years, and man, that was so much fun.
What
It
a
was.
time.
You know,
man.
So good.
It was, man. It's like one of those things, man. You never, well, I can say this for me personally, grew up playing music and always wanted, not necessarily, I wasn't ever after the highest and the best of everything as far as like everything that the music business has to offer, but I definitely wanted to be successful in it, at least be able to create a living. And so for us to get to go on those runs with you, and then everything that you taught us just about how the shit is supposed to go,
Yeah,
because there's so many, I could imagine how many drivers just kind of will let some stuff slide and don't really run a tight ship.
yeah,
And it really makes everything so much more professional, so much more easier. I mean, I bet Johnny Cash had a good doorman,
Oh,
had a
yeah.
good guy guarding his door, because anytime that we come up here, man, it was always safe and secure, even when people were, are admiring the bus because this thing draws a lot of attention,
It
right?
does. Yeah.
It's advertising.
Yeah.
But man, just the stuff that we learned from you was amazing, and still learn,
And you talked about, being younger and wanting to look behind the curtain. It's cool that us going out with you, we got to see parts of how the music industry works that we would have never gotten to see. So,
Yeah.
if you think about it, you at this point, I would say, get to see more behind the curtain than most musicians will ever dream of. Most musicians that we know, so it's really freaking cool, man. And we really always appreciated that about getting to go out with you, because it was like, never thought that we would get to even experience that part of what being a traveling musician is about, because that's
Absolutely.
years and years of hard work to get to. So that was killer.
The average citizen, they never step foot inside of a tour bus, and that's simply because I'm going to use Andrew as an example. If he rents this bus, I have to protect this like it's his home, and I can't invite you guys in because this is his house. If this bus was leased right now, you guys wouldn't be in here
Right.
because this is somebody else's public space, personal space, and so I have to protect it as their home. So I can't have people just coming through.
Mhm.
I hope no one heard that over there at the T-Mart.
Yeah, they can't come in.
But no, to speak on what Trevor was saying, the experiences and stuff like that. We don't necessarily travel the most, but what we do takes time away from people we care about, people we love.
Sure.
And so all we really have to show for that is experiences.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to communicate an experience through verbal communication. I don't know how to make someone else feel the way that I felt when we're out and we're, grooving and everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The way how I feel, the way it's, meant to be. And so, to be able to take those experiences and to be able to for you to do those stuff with us and help us is it means a lot, because like I said, we can't communicate the experience and how we feel when we're all out together.
Yeah.
So the excuse that we have when we go home and see people we love is really
You can't.
there
explain
isn't
it.
one. There isn't an excuse,
Yeah. And being inside of one of these things is so much fun to be able to, it becomes a mobile party.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time in
Have this thing turned upside down,
And I certainly enjoyed it, being someone who doesn't love the whole having to hang out with the crowd afterwards, to
Yeah.
a certain degree. I mean, I could take it to a certain point, but yeah, that was wonderful having this place to go to.
Yeah.
Retreat back to.
After the show,
Yeah.
if you don't want to hang out in here and party, the bunk's back there. Go
There's
back
that-
there and sleep.
There's
If-
that too.
If you do want to hang out in here and party with the crowd, then here you are.
Mhm.
But you get to hang out with your select group.
Right. That's what I mean, being in here with the people I want to be with instead of
Yeah,
with a bunch of strangers.
with anybody that wants to walk into whatever green room in
Right.
whatever venue you're in.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pick and choose who walks through the front door
Mhm.
in this situation.
And that really helped us out, man, doing that for us. And there's a long list of things that you've done to help us, and you've been a key role in, I guess, the progression of our development and where we are right now as musicians and artists, and
Or even as
having
far
the
as to-
podcast now, everything where we're at right now.
Or even as far as to whether or not we continue with it or not.
Yeah,
In some situations,
You-
sometimes.
you've helped us out a lot. What made you want to help bands like that and donate to bands and become almost a sponsor for people you care about? What made you want to do that?
It gets a little emotional for me, but it goes back to being in the military and my love of music as a teenager and in my early 20s and deployments overseas. But that's the easiest grab and the shortest conversation. my profession in the Air Force was like an infantry role. Each branch of service has an infantry role. Um, um, we in the security forces we guarded missiles and airplanes and do combat missions and stuff that most people wouldn't expect the Air Force to do. Um, by day we would do some ugly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
By night I would go back to my tent, and my escape from all that ugly was to put on back in the day a Sony Walkman, or a cassette player, because I'm old, or a CD player. Depends on the decade that my military service was. But during Desert Storm, I was playing cassettes, and I had tons of them, and I just put on my music, and I would sit there and play music all night long, and that would take me away from the ugly that I had to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
And music was my ability to run away from all that, and my savior, if you will.
Your key to oblivion, right?
Yes, and that's a very good way to say that. And so now that that part of my life is gone, and I have the means to give back a little bit, I give back to music in ways that the average person can't. I look at the bands, the garage bands and the regional bands, and I see them struggle, and I know how much money that you guys have to pump into a band just to play at the local clubs, and I know that you're taking food out of your family's mouths, and so I buy those T-shirts, and I buy I put money into the bands in ways that most people can't, because I want you to succeed. You gave me everything I needed back in my time to help me through my tough times. Now I want to give back a little bit. And, that was, I could talk about that for a long time, but that's a short version of it. It's just me trying to.
No, I love it, because just as much as that was your ticket to oblivion, it is ours too.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason of why it's no big thing to skimp out on a bill and put it in the band.
Yeah.
Or skimp out on anything that I feel like I need to put in the band.
Yeah.
Because it's always been the thing that that just gets you away from reality. That gets you. I mean, life can be beautiful, but it isn't always for everybody.
Yeah.
So whenever you get and find little cracks and crevices that you can sneak away from it and hunker down into, that's important.
Each of you guys spend thousands of dollars to make $50 at a show.
Oh yeah.
And you do it time and time again. And the average fan goes to a show and they spend $20 on a T-shirt. And
or some people get upset and won't show up because there's a $5 cover.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'll pay for that $5 cover, and I'll pay for that guy's $5 cover and that guy's $5 cover, and I've done that time and time again. And I've bought at one time I bought 12 tickets and took a whole bunch of people to a show, and everybody left with a T-shirt. And I'm not bragging that I spent a bunch of money, but I wanted to make sure that band made a bunch of money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it for that band and that band and that band, and I want to make sure that I give back to the arts and the music industry, because, like I said, you rescued me. Now I'm trying to give a little bit back.
Man,
Well, the rhetoric behind it is powerful as shit,
Mhm.
and if more people thought of it that way, a lot more people would be better off. But we appreciate what you do for
Yeah,
people, man.
You're a wonderful man.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have met you.
anytime that the name, we don't even have to be speaking about Jeffrey Petty, but anytime the name Jeff comes up, it comes out of my mouth like clockwork. The world doesn't deserve someone like Jeff.
Well, I didn't come to driving buses to make money. I'm out here for the experience and to again look behind the curtain and see what's happening and to live a dream. This is
It. So, our first encounter, we actually, you had seen us in Nashville. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, that's right.
You had seen us in Nashville.
Yeah, I was between 2 runs and I had 2 days off, and there was a concert that I wanted to go see, and you opened for him.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That was sick.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
at the Cowan, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
it was. Yeah.
to be honest with you, I hate that was the show that you come to because I remember specifically I had problems all evening. The first 2 songs, I knocked my bass maybe on you or something and knocked one of my shits out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
And we was playing She's Bad, and there was a spot where I bounced good.
For people who don't know, a bass doesn't have strings on it; it has shits on it.
Just so you know.
I did not know that.
So I think I hit my bass on you and knocked one of my shits out of tune, and we was playing She's Bad, and in that song I bounce off every one of those strings. It was one of the few songs that we played at the time that I did, and every time I bounced off this certain string, Buddy was out of tune, so it made me go. So I quit playing that particular string for 2 songs,
Yeah.
and after that show I was like, damn, that was the worst shit I'd ever played. It was awful. And then Malcolm was like, man, there's a guy by the name of Jeff Petty that loved us. And I was like, huh, well, that's cool. But I just hate that you come to my worst show that I've ever had.
We also spent the whole day driving golf balls. Oops, sorry, Trevor. Driving golf balls to the point to where our hands were blistered.
Oh,
And
man.
then we had to play that show. We were all tender.
I came to that show and I watched it, and you played your last song, and I'm not going to say it yet. You guys know what I'm talking about, but I watched the last song that you played, and I fell in love with that song. It just, to this day, I'm in love with that song. And then I went home from the show, and and then I watched I watched the headliner, and then I went home from the show, and then 2 days later that song was still on my mind. I had to find out what that song was, and luckily I remembered the name of your band, and so I looked it up online, and I sent a message through Facebook to Kiss Kiss Bang, and I'm assuming it was Malcolm that got back with me, and I asked him, what was the anchor song, the last song of the show, the set, and he told me it was My Last Goodbye, and I said I have to know what that song is. I got to hear that again, and I said I just fell in love with that song, and you guys know that's absolutely my favorite song, and so that's when I started talking with Malcolm, and we became friends and started chatting back and forth on Facebook Messenger, and then I told him that hey, I do this bus thing, and he said, well, eventually it turned into, we've got this show in Grand Rapids and Chicago, and that's why all that happened. But that's kind of how we all learned about each other.
Yeah. He yeah, man. Missed that dude. He's killing it though.
Yeah, he
Right?
is. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Super proud of him.
Yeah, I am too. I keep in touch with that guy a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a perfect position for Malcolm, I feel like. It's worked out really good for him. We're proud as hell of him.
Yeah.
We miss him, but we're proud of him, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, especially the older I get, which we had dinner last night, and I told him the older I get, the more emotional I get. I'm stupid over little shit too.
It gets worse.
And thanks. And one thing that really gets me the older I get is just seeing people be happy in life, like genuinely fucking happy in life.
Yeah.
Because it's what we're all after.
That's the best.
You know, at the end of the day.
That's the best.
And it's so hard to come by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is it's funny because we got a song, but it's really is a high price for a peace of mind.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
So to see somebody like what you said, you don't do this you do this because that you love this. You genuinely love this. And so to see people thrive in situations that make them happy and that just things that I just love it. I love it because not everybody gets the luxury.
Yeah.
We call it a luxury, even though it's work.
Yeah.
No, not everybody gets the luxury to do absolutely what they work in the field that they love. You know?
I tell myself when it starts to suck, that's when I call it quits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna detour real quick.
Sure.
You've got something on your table, and we need to get down to it.
Okay.
We're going to solve this whole deal we have, which Crowder, I think, likes it. Andrew, I think he secretly likes it.
I don't secretly like it. It's not one of my favorite drinks. It's not one of my favorite things.
Oh,
It's not bad. I'm not gonna down it. I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm not gonna stomp it. But I to be honest with you, I prefer it to the other counterparts.
Okay, I was going to say,
But
somebody
I don't
told me
drink that shit
What
anyway.
in the fucking world are we talking about right now? Oh,
the antifreeze.
I thought you got something on your table was a way of saying like you got something going on we need to talk about.
Yeah. No.
An item on your plate.
You mean literally?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something literally on the
So
table.
we can actually say though, right? We can say it's
Yeah.
it's ski.
Yeah,
This is Trevor's favorite drink of choice.
Kentucky's finest.
We took 1 or 2 cases of this to Chicago with us.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
I swore I
2.
was going to try one,
Mm-hmm.
and I never did.
And he got past you somehow. Well, he had them all drank. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first day.
I swore I was always going to try one of these. I never have.
Well, that's what blows my mind because I was under the impression that you had, only because of the countless cases that have been on the bus, or
Yeah.
even when they did the
The little April Fool's thing.
Yeah.
on one of the earlier episodes
him
we talked
fucked up.
about
That
that.
was the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had. I thought you were joking
I thought that was legit.
when you posted that
You were-
day. He's
you
like,
were
"I
in a
sent you a
panic.
case."
yeah,
Oh, he was.
he's done. He's
He
done.
He was. Yeah.
He's throwing in the towel on
Yeah.
life.
And as soon as you started panicking, I thought, oh man, I got to help Trevor out. I bought what was it, 2 cases on Amazon and had them shipped to you.
They came in like a week later. Had this big ass box on the porch.
We did think you were joking.
Yeah.
We thought that you also knew that it was an April Fool's prank, and you're like, I bought you 2 cases as a joke.
I fell for it.
And then
But
like a week or so, here comes 2
I
cases.
think we can all appreciate manic decisions. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
good on you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a blessing, regardless of them opening or closing. I seen that and I was like, man, fucking Jeff.
Yeah.
So ski, baby. Kentucky's
Try this out.
Kentucky Gold.
Oh, we're gonna try it live right here.
He's gonna
Oh,
try
is
it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
I
first
even-
time.
I even was a young adult when the Kentucky Headhunters did Dumas Walker
Mhm.
and was singing about
Bottle of ski.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
shit.
thought that was whiskey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I always thought they were singing about whiskey. Slawburger,
Slawburger,
Slawburger
fry
fries.
and a bottle of ski.
Yeah,
They got to be
that's it.
talking about some sort of frosty freeze, some sort of tasty freeze. I
Yeah.
don't know Dumas. Right. Never met Walker.
I used to.
That's
Dumas
So I
Walker is a bar.
It's a
Mhm.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
for
But
the
I'd
longest,
never been there, right?
longest time, most of my life, I thought it was saying, let's all go down to do Miss Walker. Like she was a hoe.
Yeah.
Like they're all just going to go down
Sign
as
me
a
up.
group, as a group, and just they're all going to take turns
and the
doing Miss
slaw
Walker.
burger.
Yeah, they're going to give me a slaw burger.
yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, here we go.
That's
All right,
fucking
Jeff.
awesome.
If you're gonna spit it out, turn your head, please.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't like it that
Yeah,
much?
I mean,
It's like ginger ale was for me. I always thought that I didn't like ginger ale, and I tried it. And the other day, I bought a 12-pack and drank a couple of them. I was like, this isn't too bad, actually.
I remember ginger ale we used to drink as like it was alcohol when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would finish that.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Especially with a little Tito's off in the mix.
Oh, is that how you do it?
I do.
Yeah, Skitos.
I do prefer. So I don't care for all the citrus lime drinks, but that's the best one out of all of them. I would prefer a ski over Mountain Dew or Mellow Yellow or Mountain Holler.
I
Mm-hmm.
used to drink all those, and I don't. I normally just drink water. That's all I ever drink.
Yeah.
On rare occasion, I'll drink a Sprite.
Yeah,
So this is close to that.
I like Sprite
Yeah.
too.
I drink water in that cup all the time. In my rare occasions, Dr. Pepper, I like it.
Yeah, once
So-
in a while.
It does, and maybe one of y'all know, does Pepsi make Mountain Dew?
Mm-hmm.
It tastes to me like Pepsi would make that.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, tastes a little flat to me.
Really?
Always.
See, Mountain Dew tastes really flat to me now, and I used to drink it a lot. But if you compare them side by side, Mountain Dew has more of a syrupy flatness to it, which that's loaded with fucking sugar.
Mm.
But Mountain Dew is almost flat to me compared.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to try its other flavors that I just recently learned about.
Some people like them. I don't think I've ever even tried them.
There's a blue one, isn't there?
Yeah. On a red one.
Oh, no.
Mm.
Not into all the weird shit. I like Granny's sweet tea.
Yeah.
But see,
Yeah.
Granny fucked around a long time ago and went on this Splenda kick. And I never tell her to her face, but it ain't been the same since.
No, of course it
You
wouldn't be.
But Milo's sweet tea is about the best I can get nowadays.
Out of a
man.
bottle.
Yeah.
Making it your own.
If I make it my own
is-
shit, I
is
got
of
the
course
best.
the best, but
Yeah.
Jeff, weird question for you.
Sure.
Being that you have traveled all over the fucking world, is there any weird superstitions that you've...
Not so much a superstition, but maybe a ritual.
Any rituals that you have that you had to do?
It started out as a goofy mistake. I carry the same T-shirt with me on every tour I go. It goes back to my favorite band, ACDC, and that goes all the way back to my teenage years. There was a childhood friend that taught me about ACDC and the Eagles and Jackson Brown back in the 70s. And he got killed in 1990 in a car wreck, but I knew about ACDC before they got popular, before they went mainstream. They went mainstream in '79 on the Highway to Hell album.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got an ACDC Highway to Hell T-shirt, and that T-shirt travels with me on every tour. And my very first entertainer trip, I took that shirt with me, and then on the second one, on the third one, well, one of my earliest entertainer trips, entertainer versus charter bus. Charter bus is the ones full of seats.
Yeah.
Entertainer is this thing. My very earliest entertainer trips was with a gospel group, and I can't say their name, but it was like 0 degrees when I left Wichita, and I was wearing that T-shirt, and I put on a flannel shirt over top of it. And I didn't even realize that I had on a Highway to Hell T-shirt, and but I had on a flannel, and then I went down to Houston, and picked up this gospel group, and gospel groups they go to a lot of these I don't know, mega churches, the super church, the huge churches, and I went into Houston. I left Wichita. It was like 18 degrees or 0, somewhere around it. It was really cold out. And I got to Houston, and it's 80, 90 degrees down there. So I'm setting up the bus, and I'm working, and it's hot, and the group goes in, and they're setting up inside the church, and I have to go inside, and I take off my flannel while they're inside, and not thinking anything about it. And we're at a church, and I'm wearing a Highway to Hell shirt.
On the fast track, baby.
Yeah, and I realized that this is not the best look for me. So I put my flannel back on, even though it's that hot out. I put my flannel back on and go inside, but then eventually I do change shirts. But my point is that shirt travels with me on every tour that I go on, and it always has. So that's my superstition or my ritual is carrying that shirt everywhere. And even if I never wear it, it goes with me everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
It's at least in my suitcase. And the band that I just finished with, when they finish their encore, their walk off music is "Highway to Hell," and so I don't wear that shirt so much anymore because it's getting old and worn out. But so I kind of baby it or take good care of it. But I made sure I wear it for that band because they have special ties to ACDC that I don't want to discuss, but
Mhm.
because it'll lead you to understand who they might be. But they appreciated me wearing that shirt, and so that's
We always respected your love for ACDC because I think we all love ACDC, right?
Yeah, it's also one of those bands to where they became they saturated the scene so much to where you start to lose track of that a little bit. Now you can buy ACDC shirts at Walmart, and
yeah.
so now you kind of put them in the back of your mind a little bit. But just not too long ago, back in the spring, I put on I forget which record I put on. Either way, and listened to some old AC/DC songs, and I'm like, damn, these are so good.
So fucking good.
And you forget that after, if you let it go for a little while without listening to it.
I mean, when you think about it, there's a handful of bands, in my opinion, that are household names and staples. And what I mean by a household name is I mean in the middle of a Christian gospel house, a family that doesn't leave church, they would know who AC/DC is.
Yeah.
They know who Kiss is. They know who whatever. You know what I'm saying?
49 years, still going strong.
Still, right?
The epitome of rock and roll sound, in my opinion,
Is AC/DC.
And is it weird that we'll understand this probably because we've seen the kind of people that like AC/DC down where we're from too, when I thought of AC/DC growing up, I always thought of, good old Southern American hard rock.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they're from Australia.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like all these people in the South really, really love AC/DC. And in fact, it's the heaviest some of them will get.
And they're probably like, I wonder which part of Alabama they're from.
And they're Australian.
Bon Scott always wore a Confederate flag belt buckle. He was wanting to go Southern rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, they're just the epitome of that sound.
it is. They really are. They really put a foothold down as being not necessarily being Southern rock, but being loved by Southern rock.
Wait, they're New Zealand,
listeners.
aren't they?
Australia.
I thought it was New Zealand.
Perth, Australia.
Okay.
Seether is
South African.
South African. How crazy is that?
Mm-hmm. Nashville though. Everybody's moving to Nashville. Literally, we kept up with musicians that moved from California to Nashville. Seether lives down in Nashville. Everybody's moving to fucking Nashville. Nashville's the new smaller LA.
Nashville and Austin.
Yeah. Okay, so more
Wow.
people out west are moving to Austin, and more people on the east side are moving to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I'm not a fan. Nashville's too big for me. I get uncomfortable.
I enjoy it. I just don't
Thinking
like
about
being the
Nashville.
driver.
It's hard to drive through Nashville.
Yeah.
It's an eclectic kind of scene that's ever evolving, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it. So everybody likes to go down to Nashville and drink or whatever, spend $30 on a drink. I wouldn't mind going during the day or whatever, but as soon as that sun thinks it's about to set, I'm ready to get the fuck up out of there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I love all the indie clubs down there. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure it's either about to be or it's already happened. But the Cannery Ballroom, those venues on Cannery Row in that one big building. It's the Cannery Ballroom, Mercy Lounge, the High Watt. There's one more I'm missing, I believe. All of those. That's where literally every show I come down there to see, every single one of them, unless they were a big time arena playing band, would have been at the Cannery Ballroom or the Mercy Lounge or the High Watt. And now, I guess the pandemic hurt them so bad. I assume.
Man.
I'm not sure. They they're having to close down. They're knocking that down and going to build a high rise there.
They almost knocked the exit in out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly,
People
I do
saved
want to
it.
shit. I do want to talk about that for a second. That's cool. Do you know what happened at Exit Inn during the pandemic?
I
You're familiar with the Exit Inn though in Nashville?
You're familiar with the pandemic?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Little
so
bit.
Exit Inn in Nashville is a legendary music venue.
Okay.
Well, it's probably between 6 and 8 cap,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
that's
think 675.
yeah.
Maybe.
Is that the one where the proprietor passed away? Am I getting that confused with?
You know, I just couldn't
Couldn't
speak on
say,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, couldn't speak on it. But it's been around forever. Johnny Cash played there.
Okay.
I mean, literally
Everybody.
everybody.
Yeah,
They
I
have a
was gonna sit here
wall of signatures of who's been there.
sit here, I can't even name them all because it's that many people. And what they did was leading into the pandemic. During the middle of the pandemic, they was gonna have to sell. They just couldn't
Wow.
do the upkeep
That's
on it.
not got. That's not it.
They turned it into a skate park, and people came every day and was paying money to go in there and skate,
Wow.
and that kept them alive during the pandemic.
That's brilliant.
It's amazing. But okay, so I said the Exit Inn because I want to say one more thing real quick, or ask you one more thing real quick. There's a lot of places that we love to play, obviously, but what's the most? I mean, and I can name off famous venues, but like what's the probably the biggest or maybe the most well-known venue that you've gotten to drive to, work at, experience? I'm talking MSG, I'm talking Staples, I'm talking the Boston Garden, I'm talking
That one, MSG, Staples,
Basically, everything you just said. He's been-
all,
I
all
guess
the
so.
major arenas I've been to.
really.
Yeah, and I've here in a couple of weeks I go right back to MSG, Madison Square Garden. If anybody doesn't know what MSG is,
Hell yeah, we do.
Have you done much bus tour in Europe?
No,
No?
never done any.
Have you ever done any for like professional wrestlers?
Yes, I did.
No shit.
Yeah,
And we haven't talked about this.
I did. But this was in a charter bus in Wichita. They came. They played in Trust Arena, and I can't remember the names of the two different. It was
Affiliates? Like the
Companies.
companies they work for? Is that what you're trying to remember?
Yeah.
WWE, WWF,
Ring of
WCW.
Honor,
No, not
Impact.
Not that. UFC.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about fighters.
you did fighters.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm really big into fighting. Right now.
And we had to use two buses because you would have like red team, blue team, and
Oh, I bet you were
That's
hauling
dope.
for
Oh,
American
that's so
Fighter.
sick. I know exactly what you're
Ultimate
doing.
Fighter.
Ultimate Fighter.
Right? I bet that's what
No,
you're hauling
well,
for.
potentially. Go ahead.
and they all stayed at the same hotel in Wichita, and one team would come out and get in one bus, and one would get in the other bus. They couldn't travel on the same bus together because there would be a brawl in the bus.
Yeah.
And then you would take them to the venue, and one would go in and the other would go in, and they would go to the separate locker rooms, and then they would get to the ring and beat each other to death, and then they would either come out and get in an ambulance and go to the hospital, or they'd come out all bloody and get on the bus and
Well,
go back to the hotel.
Huh.
so, yeah, they must have had an event there, because the reality stuff is in Las Vegas, but they had an event there, and then they separated them all by corners. They had the red corner and blue corner,
Okay.
and then all the red corner guys. I guess you was shoveling one of those corners.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. That's fucking cool.
That's what it was.
Hmm.
And that was just an accident. I just happened to get back on a Saturday night, and they wanted me to do the run on Sunday because they just needed the driver to run one of these buses.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll do it.
So, here's a 2-part question. This will probably be our last one we're gonna throw at you. How long we been going?
Yeah, we need to tie up, and we're at 45 minutes. This would be good.
Cool. If you can think of what's your best artist story of someone you've worked with, something that comes to mind, like the best story you have, and then what's the worst
Okay.
Obviously, you can't tell their
Best
names.
and worst
but
experience, huh?
Best artist story. Okay. Just a quick one. I took I took a young country artist to the Ryman, and it's a 12-hour drive from Wichita to Nashville, and I'm driving him over, and we're going the day before, and it's the middle of the night. I don't know, 1 2 a.m. and he's sitting up front. I'm driving obviously, and he's sitting over in the passenger seat, the jump seat, and we call that the confessional, because they'll sit there and drink beer and tell you all kinds of stuff that the average person shouldn't know. So that they'll confess their soul to you, and it's hilarious. So like I said, we call that the confessional. But he's sitting there drinking beer, and I said to him, you're going to the Opry. Yep. This is your debut. Yep. And I said to him, you know what Roy Acuff would tell you? No. What's that? Do you know who Roy Acuff is? Yeah, I know who that is. Well, Roy would tell you, son, sing the one that brung you. And he said, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And to me, that was, to be able to tell this young artist what that legend has told all these other artists throughout the years, to give him that little piece of advice from that legend, that was a big deal to me. So that was a lot of fun. Another good story is when you finish a tour, and I finished a tour with a group of 6 young, is a boy band. Excuse me. At it was the very last show, and after the show, they finished, and I was out at the bus getting ready to separate and head away, and they were going to get on an airplane and fly away. And I was helping a couple other bus drivers, and the manager was looking for me, and I wasn't where they expected me to be because I'm helping the other drivers. But they were looking all over for me, and they finally found me. And the manager came up to me and said, Jeff, the boys are looking for you. And I said, why is that? And she said, well, just come with me. And she took me backstage, and all 6 boys were still in their stage clothes, and they made me sit down in a certain spot, and they all huddled around me, and they had been waiting for me because they wanted me to take a group photo with me, and that was really touching.
Mm-hmm.
That they had waited that whole time just to find me, and they stayed in their stage clothes and hadn't showered or anything. They just waited so I could get there, and that's happened twice now. This last band, at the last show, they had me see them to the stage, right at the right as they went on stage. I had to see them out, and then as they were on stage, then that's when I got in the bus and drove away.
Yeah.
And you make really good friends with these people, and saying goodbye is tough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Always is.
So
Especially when you just never know when you're going to see them again, you know?
you're probably not, unless they really like you, and then they hire your company again and they request you. And that happens quite a bit too. I've got one band that they insist on seeing me a lot.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll exactly
We talked
what I'm
about it last
talking
night.
about. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
did. Yeah, I hope I picked up that contract.
That's some big dick shit.
Oh, that's a big contract. But
Well, it's obvious you've left a impact on a lot of musicians, and
Yeah.
people
Including
who
us.
travel.
Including
Oh
us.
yeah, people who travel, their life is they live life one day at a time, and probably what happened yesterday, most of the time it stays back there. So
yeah.
you got to be a pretty badass person for musicians like that to want to be like, hey, make sure that guy is my driver again.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of great drivers out there. You know, plenty of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's just cool that you put that much into the musicians and the artists, and
it's not surprising for anybody that would want you back. Like I said,
I don't know.
You know, blew any kind of expectation as far as running a tight ship. And I mean, that's exactly how this thing has to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every little nut and bolt has to be accounted for and
It does.
greased properly. And
Motherfucker gets off the bus when he's supposed to get off the bus. He's staying.
yeah.
Yeah. You will lose somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it happens. It happens.
I love it.
Well, Jeff, we surely do love and care about you, and are so happy that we met you. You're welcome here anytime you can even think about coming.
Yeah. At the house, on the podcast, anywhere else you want to be.
Oh yeah, I meant all of it.
Anywhere. And our casa is Sue's.
Awesome.
Whoever the fuck Sue is,
Yeah.
it's hers too.
bring
And
that
then-
big bitch with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys watching. Enjoyed this episode of the Blest Boyz Podcast. If you would like to ask us a question, you can send us just regular old, question in text form, or you can send selfies, videos of yourself asking the question, however you want to do it. You can send that stuff to the blestboyspod@gmail.com. That's BLESTBOYZPOD@gmail.com. Trevor is not pointing to it. Actually, no, I haven't told you, but the last episode you nailed it. It's great.
Hell yeah.
But we love you. Thank you for watching. We enjoy doing this. We hope that you enjoy watching. Stay blessed.
We got some brand new BBPs headed your way every other Thursday, and I'm not talking about big, beautiful penises. I'm talking about the new Blest Boyz pod.
It ain't your Peepaws podcast. It's the Blest Boyz podcast. Wait, fuck, I fucked up too.
This is hard.
It ain't your Peepaws podcast. It's the People's podcast. It's the Blest Boyz podcast.
Jeff, we love you. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you,
We
brother.
love you,
Love
Jeff.
you, dog.
I guess.